the three horsemen ride again.
I can't ride tonight. I'm well inebriated. Just kidding. So
Start over, Mike. Sorry, buddy. I didn't expect you to call. You thought you were waiting for me, and then I charged right into the middle of your. Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast.
Well, you said you're the three horsemen, so charging ahead would be appropriate. Just more crap for Mark to take out. Anyway. Hello! Welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Tonight with Mr. Ed, we've got Jason and Jim.
And knowing Hookem, he'll leave that shit in there just on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure he will. So, I want to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co.
Hookem's on the show with us. He's in the notes.
That's awesome. So here is your November. Let's make this bigger. Here's your November patches of the month. November, there's always two. One for Black Friday, which is this one right here. And that actually says, let's see if I can get the camera to zoom in on it. So the little red tag hanging off says Doorbusters or Doorbuster, which I can't get it to zoom in, but and read. So that's the first one. And then the second, of course, is our tactical turkey with an RPG this year and an AK. So he's gone commie. Jorgen wants to know if there's any updates to my reloading room. No, I've not really made any progress. I guess the one thing I didn't show is I did not show that I've actually got the monitors now on a stand. So, but my lighting situation got worse because I had to give the lamp up to the craft area over there, which is underneath all those boxes. So that's all their craft crap. So, other than that, I have not really made much progress. I do have the Lyman mount.
Well, you do have the Lyman stickers. You put the sticker up. That counts.
That's right. I got the sticker up now. So, speaking of, we're going to be giving some of them away as soon as we figure out how we're going to do it. But other than that, nothing. So, everything else is still the same. So, I was going to try and get the 550 there where those two pop cans are sitting, but that didn't happen. So, got busy. So, yeah, the computer setup's really nice because they're not on the bench, and the actual Mac Mini is going to be moving off the bench too. I'm going to build a little holder for it on the side. So I got that going. So, but yeah, that's kind of about it for that. Other than that, not much. Working. That's about it. I was supposed to go deer hunting last weekend. Unfortunately, dad and brother are under the weather, so that got canceled.
Boy, there's some trouble there.
Always.
I'll tell you what. This woman actually has the gall to come on this show after admitting that she cannot put her shotgun together.
Hey, totally transparent here.
Transparent? Yeah, but I'm talking about what's happening to mechanical aptitude. If you can reload, you can put your shotgun together.
No, so it wasn't that I couldn't put it together. I was just being a princess, and every time I looked at it, I was like, "How am I supposed to put this together?" And then when you look at the manual, it's like, first of all, the pictures is about this little. You need a magnifying glass to read the instructions. So I just put it down and didn't touch it for a few days. And then today, after I was caffeinated, I looked at it, and it took me about, including oil in it, looking at it for a second, and then putting it together. It took me like 3 minutes. And I was like, well, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and deserve to be a little prima donna, a little prissy princess.
So you put it together anyway. You let me roast you after that. You let me roast you after putting your gun together.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. What did y'all say? I'm sorry.
I have been slammed bodily
I'm
and
sorry.
really and well.
I'm sorry.
I
I had
said,
like,
you let me roast you after all that. After you put your gun together, you let me roast you.
yeah.
I love it too.
But it was on Instagram. Hey, at least you know that what I post is like, hey, that's raw.
That's right. Welcome, dear. We're glad to have you.
Hello, guys.
And I tell you what, you're hanging out. You're rubbing elbows with some pretty high.
Man, I had an amazing weekend. Like I did. I rubbed elbows with some
The
big
director
names.
of the United States Wildlife Service.
Yes, and she may actually go. She may, if her itinerary allows for it, come duck hunting with us.
Ooh. And a 4-star general,
Yep, Paul E. Funks II.
retired no less, clean
Mhm.
shaven in the official photo. But boy, that old boy gave himself a big old handlebar mustache.
Yeah, and some local people that were big contributors to the state and conservation.
Mm-hmm.
Coolest people on the planet that I've met so far.
We are hanging out with a celebrity, Jason. What do you think?
I thought we were cooler than a 4-star general, but whatever.
You guys are, because honestly, when they introduced me to him, I'm not military, born, raised, and live in it. I was like, oh, I don't know who he is, but he's in the military, so I'm gonna give him his,
I would have stood tall, put my heels together, and saluted the man.
Hey, we stood up, and then that's when somebody leaned over, because I guess apparently I get this look where I don't know WTF is going on, and updating. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that was cool. But
Well,
hanging out,
you got a hell of a picture with him. I'll tell you that.
yeah, we got a couple, and we got a lot with Aurelia Skipwith.
Who's
She even
that?
hung out with. She's a U.S. Director of Fish and Wildlife, and she even hung out with us like afterwards. Like she was a regular person. I mean, she is, but she's not. Super cool.
So that's what you did in Guns and Reloading over the weekend, huh?
I did. I went on my first wild pheasant hunt.
Hunting.
First wild hunting.
And then did you drop any ringnecks? Ooh.
Yep. The first one, me and another person shot at it. I hit it first. They hit it.
Did you hit it with the pretty gun?
No, because the pretty gun, I bought it Thursday at like 6 p.m. and I hit the road at 4 a.m. Friday. So I didn't take it. I took Old Faithful. Yep, took Old Faithful. And it's funny because, the couple of guys thought my shotgun was too heavy for me. And I'm used to it, but I have a sling on it. So if I'm standing, when we were blocking, if I'm standing there and I'm not gonna shoot because the line's coming towards me, I'm slinging it on my shoulder, and they're like, "You want to try the 20?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." Oh, it's like, oh, okay. At some point you realize just show them that.
Sharenda, when you chose the 12 gauge, you did the right thing, because 20 gauge is a gun for experts. Even 28 is a gun for experts.
The 20 is just, I'm used to that bulky thing. That 20 gauge is too light for me. I get ahead of stuff.
Yep.
Too quick. Yep.
You lead him too far.
Yep. So it was fun. Busted clays. Did our coach proud. Did our organization proud. Our whole team. That was fun as hell. That's all I'm gonna say. Fun as hell. I'd definitely do it again. And I was forced to go hunting.
Forced?
Yeah.
Your arm looks really broken.
Look, when you're not going to hunt and you don't go prepared, and an influential person tells you you're going to hunt,
Break my arm.
Go. Yeah, you
break
just go. So
who would this influential person be?
Barbara Baird. She is the publisher and editor of Women Outdoor News. She's a big supporter with women getting outdoors, and getting supporting organizations and foundations and making sure anything that's involved with women activities and organizations, she writes up stuff on. Coolest lady. Super fun. I met some really cool dogs too.
It's
What happened
fun
to
to
you?
watch a really good bird dog. Huh?
Oh man, there was one that was a tank, kind of like me, almost old, short, moves slow, but she was on it.
Nice.
Good deal.
Spoiled pooch right here.
That's a picture we want to see. The dog's posterior on the screen. Anyway, Jason,
It's still better looking than your
You look at your
frontier.
face all the time, and what's the difference?
there you go. Jason, did you do anything?
Did I do anything?
Guns Reloading.
Coworker bought a PCP 25 cal and brought it to work today.
PCP.
So pre-charged pneumatic pellet gun. So I helped him. I taught him how to charge it up and talked to him about scopes a little bit. And when I got home, Mike Young of the Brass Bank called me. He was just passing by my hometown here, and he's going to be passing back through Sunday morning. So he's going to come over, him and his wife, and have coffee with us Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I think that's about it.
Are you going to share the good stuff?
What kind of good stuff? Oh,
The coffee.
Aromas. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because I'm sorry, I can be a little selfish sometimes. I have coffee that I serve the guests, and then there's my stash.
Oh. No, I only order one type. I don't venture out. I don't go buy the cheap stuff over at Walmart or nothing.
Okay.
Well, since Jason gave Mike Young a shout out, Sharenda, he dates back before we were acquainted with you. We had a group on Facebook called the Brass Bank. Jason and I were both admins of that particular group. And, well, that group, unfortunately, went away.
Ah.
And it was not by the admin's choice.
Oh, was it the...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mike lived about 2 hours away from me, and we belonged to the same private range. And so we would shoot every Sunday morning together.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got to know each other.
Yeah, good people.
Yep.
I talked to him once or twice, too, over the phone, I mean.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. I went shooting again.
I saw that.
Yeah, I went and I had a setup where I had some 38 loads running. I don't remember the exact stats. I have to analyze the data. But I was running 38 loads. Jason, remember the 210 grain bullets I sent you, the flat base truncated cone? You still got any of those?
I do.
Good for you.
Anyway,
I loaded those up in a 357 with a real mild 38 load. And then I loaded up some 357, what I call peppy loads. There's James Leonard, for goodness sake. And I realize you can't see him, Jason. He's on Facebook.
Oh.
But he's James Leonard's in the YouTube chat. Hello, James.
Hey, James.
Anyway, so I was 3 different particular coffee can of each one. And I decided to take and run a little project on them. Ran them over my chronograph, and with the 4-inch barrel on my Dan Wesson, the 6-inch barrel on my Dan Wesson, and the 8-inch barrel on my Dan Wesson. Then I threw in there 2 more guns. That would be my Thompson Center Contender with the 14-inch barrel. It's not a Super 14, even though I posted it on Facebook. It's a 14-inch custom-made barrel for the so some kind of international handgun silhouette shooters or some whatever it was. Long time ago. It was made with a flat side receiver, My Contender has a Puma on both sides, and what they call the flat side receivers had no engraving whatsoever. And anyway, so I just so happened that I picked up a barrel in a gun shop called the Gun Runner over in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, many years ago, and I wound up with this 14-inch 357 barrel this guy didn't have any use for. He decided to just trade it in. Well, I got it, and I still have it, and I shoots like a dream. But anyway, so I decided to shoot it out of that 14-inch custom barrel, my Contender. That barrel is also made by Thompson Center, so it's not exactly what you would call custom made by Joe Schmo Gunsmith. And my Marlin 1894C. And I have yet to go through all the data, but I can tell you, those people that are saying that you get about 50 feet per second per inch of longer barrel, I have to tend to agree with them. Maybe it's a little conservative too, because I was getting somewhere between 400 and 600 feet per second difference from the 4-inch barrel on the Dan Wesson to the 16.5-inch barrel on the Marlin 1994C. I mean, there's 12 inches of barrel there. 12 times 5, well, that's 60. Anyway, so 12 times 50 is 600 feet per second. Anyway, so that's what I did. But just going through it, I still have to analyze the data pretty much to generalize what was going on my little project. I'm not sure what caliber next to go through or go to. I'm thinking about going to a rifle caliber and running it over. Maybe I should take that 280 AI out and give it a little workout. See if I can't pop the eyes open on those metallic silhouettes. We have metallic silhouettes at our local gun range, and they have little flappers. If you hit it, the flapper stays open. If it does, and you hit it again, flapper will go closed. And the one that's in the head of the silhouette, I like to call it pop your eyes open. I know it's lame, but hey, what the heck? Mikey, did you do anything in gun reloading this week?
Nope. I did not.
That was short and sweet.
Yep. Working, and that's about it. So,
what did you say earlier about putting guns together? More expensive guns?
Oh, yeah. Sharenda was lamenting earlier today about putting hers together, and I'm worried about scratching it. And I said, I don't know what that's all about. I put more expensive guns together every day.
Yeah, the only thing is they didn't come out of my pocket. My gun wasn't, it wasn't like the top expense by most standards, but that is a $1,500
Congratulations, dear.
gun. Thank you.
Indeed.
Which, by the way, if you guys haven't figured it out, that I've been bitching and whining about since I've been on the show, I finally got it.
What?
Over under.
Yes, you did. It's a pretty
Finally got it.
Nice blonde stock. And Jason, have you seen it on Instagram?
Mm-mm.
It's got an adjustable comb on the stock.
Yep. It's
Really?
The CZ SCTP Sterling. They also call it the Lady Sterling. So the buttstock's a little shorter. The comb is adjustable. And mine is a 30-inch barrel. It's not a 28, because even though my Beretta is a 28-inch barrel, when you measure it from buttstock to the muzzle, it's the same length as a 30-inch. So the swing for me, I had to get the 30-inch so it felt the same and looked the same.
You know how to measure a gun barrel, right, Sharenda?
Yes.
How?
You measure it. Jim,
Well,
I can't put the gun on TV for me to show point where you measure it from to where you end it.
why?
Use your words.
Because YouTube will ban us.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so trying to explain it,
All right.
it really wouldn't make sense without
Sure it
seeing
would.
it.
You sure it would. Drop a cleaning rod in, put a cleaning rod in gently, put it all the way down to the breech face of the closed shotgun or the closed firearm, and you make a little black mark with your Sharpie, and you pull it out and you see how long that is. And that includes the chamber of the gun.
Or you could just measure it with the measuring tape.
Well, you can't very well do
No,
that.
you can't.
With a
I'm being
357
funny.
revolver.
Being funny.
You can't do it with a lever gun. You can't do it with semi. You have to measure from the muzzle down.
1 second, somebody's giving me sign language and I'm not understanding what they're saying.
I didn't realize that we get banned, Mike.
Yep. Yeah, if you show firearms on YouTube, they'll ban you.
I see quite a few channels.
They're stupid. They're getting stupid like that nowadays. So
They're changing.
Yep.
It's going to get worse too.
Yep. So, Nathan, actually, originally we were supposed to be talking about shot shells, specifically like buckshot and that type of thing. But unfortunately, neither of the guests that we had lined up are able to make it due to work issues. So tonight's kind of going to be a freestyle. Nathan Sherry asked that question. Is there a specific topic for tonight's chat or more of a freestyle? Nathan's a guy that came into Cabela's a few weeks ago, and we were talking and got to talking about reloading and stuff and told him about the podcast. So he's joining us, I think, for the first time. He also has on MeWe, he's got a sweet old Lyman turret that he's got for sale that I want to get, but I can't. So, but yeah, really nice. So, oh, whoops, I forgot to post the link for the show in MeWe and the YouTube. Oops. Sorry about that, folks. I was so sorry I had to say it twice. So, anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at with things in the world. And whoops.
Well, it looks like Sharenda made the biggest accomplishment of all four of us.
Yeah, she bought a gun.
Bought that shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do? You bought a beautiful under and over from what I could see.
did. I got
Nice
some
blonde
accessories
stock.
too.
Nice blonde stock on it too.
I gotta name it. I'm sorry. I'm that kind. Judge me. I don't care.
Name it a
Good
Slavic.
name.
Give her a Slavic name.
A Slavic name. I probably can't even pronounce a Slavic name.
That's close enough. Unpronounceable.
You just throw a bunch of consonants together, toss a couple of vowels in there in random places, and
You know what? Why don't you let the Sharenda, let's make a suggestion that the chat throw some feminine Slavic names up.
I'll take it. They don't have to be feminine. I mean, the gun's gonna be referred to as her, but I mean, she could be a Billy or a Jerry or something.
That's not just Slavic.
Yeah. Oh, I also bought some accessories because 2021 is going to be the year of gun accessories. So now that I got the shotgun, focus on other stuff. I got a red dot coming, the Sig Romeo 5. I think you guys saw that I got the attack light to go on my competition pistol. And I'll need to get a magnifier and some slings. I need to get 2 slings.
Yeah, quite a shopping list there, kiddo.
I do. I actually have the shopping list from when I first started learning how to shoot of everything that I wanted or needed. It's grown since then, but it's nice to see the lines getting drawn through some of a lot of the items.
Why 2?
Why
2 slings?
One of them I want for my AR that I want to just leave it on there.
Okay.
And another one I need to get. So on my Beretta shotgun, I have a teal camo sling, so I know that that's my shotgun when we're out at league. Not the best one to have when I'm out waterfowl hunting, so I need to get just a basic tan one because it's bright.
Mm-hmm.
So That's the only reason why.
Nick Roddy's in the YouTube chat.
Hey, Nick.
And he wants you to chat with him.
I was just getting ready to say I'm gonna hit him up in Discord.
We already have a good suggestion for a name.
What is it? I don't see Helga.
Yeah.
I kind of like Helga. I need at least 3 more. Hey, Chris.
Helga's more of a German name than
I like
Russian,
Schnitzel.
You're so bad.
I'm sorry, but 11 Schnitzengruben is my limit.
Oh, we got a Natasha.
Yeah.
There you go. Boris and Natasha.
I don't have a Boris gun though.
Get on it.
Get one.
Broomhilda.
Ooh, Brunhilde.
Brina.
Hannah.
Zora. Reina.
With a Z or a X?
Zora.
Svetlana.
There you go. That's a good one right there.
I think I actually do kind of like that one.
Tiana.
Oh, Jorgen said Boris will be my pump action. Okay, I'll do that because I do want to get a pump action. So I'll name the pump action.
There you go.
Jesus, Pete, the YouTube chat's worse than we are.
Katerina.
That's a beautiful Russian name.
What am I going to call this? Haha. So anyway, there's been some debate in the chat about showing firearms, and there's still lots of people doing full. So I don't know. I was told by numerous sources you can't show full firearms on YouTube anymore. So, and I'm
on YouTube, or supposedly it's the distinction is live streaming. Accidental self-inflicted.
Here you
Is
go,
that-
YouTube.
Gotta use.
hey, is that the Bug Assault 3?
It's the.
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
the gun
that is.
I
takes
can't
the
remember.
car picture short.
I think it is a 3, Mike.
it is.
The brand new one.
Yeah. Does
What
it
do
work?
you shoot out of it?
Salt, literally.
Yeah.
Sodium
Table salt.
chloride.
What do you shoot it at?
Flies.
Bugs.
Aha!
Bug Assault.
That I like, because that would be less destructive than swatting them with a fly swatter.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. And it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that reminds me. I got to pull this bullet and find out what grain weight it is. One of the guys at work had somebody that reloaded a bunch of these for him, and he doesn't remember what the grain weight was. So I said, well, give me one, and I'll pull it and weigh it.
Shrenda, you're still getting suggestions.
Frau Verbist. And yeah.
The man blaster. Just kidding. It blasts birds. Arm.
So
the
according
laser.
to Chris Sharp tonight, I am Mile, not Mike.
You notice
well.
Mike's got his mask on for the COVID.
Yep.
assault.
Got his face diaper.
That was my shirt, you jackwagons.
Well, that's what face cyber is. About as effective as the face cyber is.
I could put on my sweet Cabela's mask.
They gave y'all one.
There you
No.
go.
They gave us a bunch of camouflage ones back in end of May.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I've worn the heck out of that one. So, or we could go with our fabulous neck gaiter.
I actually don't mind the neck gaiter with the loops that go on your ear. Actually, that's what's on my neck right now.
That's not a bad idea.
Loops on the ears? Wow, that's cheating.
Yeah, it is. And I can get my drink up under here and sip.
That way you don't know if you're drinking Jason's gin or not.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of the whole face mask thing. I'm ready to move on.
Right?
It's getting worse.
It is.
Your governor's getting worse too.
Oh boy.
Oh, that jackass. Yeah, you can't have meetings together for holidays and then they show a picture of him with his 13 billion family members around the table.
Yeah.
No masks, no social distancing.
And his kids went back to private public school. They go to a private school in my general area. His kids went back to school.
Yeah, he needs to be removed from office.
He needs to go away. He's bad.
Yeah.
No more than 6 people in your house over Thanksgiving, as I recall.
You know what? I'm going to have 50 people here, okay? Deal with it.
Yep.
I might have 47. I might have 53. I don't know. But you don't tell me what to do because you guys know you don't tell me what to do. I'll do the opposite.
Knowing you, I believe it 100%. As long as I've known you, you've always done the opposite of what I've told you to do. Whenever I ask you, you've always been very cooperative.
So here's the thing about the mask for me. I do not like the mask, but at my part-time job, I have to wear a mask, and then I don't mind because some of the sanitary habits of the public anywhere are kind of gross to begin with. But what bothers me the most is I always have people tell me, I would quit that job. But when I send them my Cash App, my PayPal, or my Venmo and tell them, well, if you would like to support my cause of me quitting my job to not wear the mask, I'd be more than happy to.
Amazingly enough, nobody sends you any money.
No. Nobody has sent me any money, but I am required because if I don't wear a mask at work, I can't work. And if I don't work, I don't have extra money to buy over under gun accessories or gunpowder or primers if there's ever going to be any available.
Shrinda.
Yes.
I have a question from the peanut gallery.
Yes.
Are you going to bake those pheasants for Thanksgiving dinner?
No, we have every year we have I don't remember if it's 2 or 3 people that give us turkeys. So we're going to smoke a turkey.
How do you find rolling papers that big?
Rolling papers?
Zigzag. Extra large.
I cannot believe I fell for that. So we're going to smoke a turkey. I got a new electric fryer for when I get my turkey in the spring. So we're going to try this electric fryer out. And then we're going to do a traditional one. The pheasants will be dinner this weekend.
Have you ever tried deep fried turkey?
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
Yeah, but I also don't want to carry that deep fried turkey right around this spring as I'm going hunting. So we're going to see how it works in the air fryer.
I smoke mine. I prefer the smoke flavor.
Me too.
Mr. Fleming wants me to say hello.
So I wanted to get back to the whole Thanksgiving thing. So this Thanksgiving, if you see 20 cars at your neighbor's house and you're thinking about reporting them, go to the fridge and drink a big glass of milk. Why? Milk is good for your teeth.
Because they're going to kick them out.
You know what else is good for your teeth? Minding your own damn business.
Got that right. Shit,
So there you go.
I haven't taken this webcam off in years, and now I can never get it adjusted right.
Dude, you haven't lived there for years.
3
Nice
years?
try.
I have so. I've lived here for over 3 years.
Nah, I don't think it's been that long.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you are shooting again, so I guess it has to have been that long.
Well, it took me 2 years to start shooting, remember?
Yep.
God, hook 'em and Pope.
I wouldn't put those three together.
Hookham and Pope.
And
Who's the
God?
three? Oh, yeah, I agree. Hookham and Pope, and it's Lucifer himself. God, those guys tormented me.
I grab my water bottle in here.
Not that I didn't deserve it. I need my butt kicked for
There
that.
it is.
But whatever.
Yep.
Anyway, so thanks, Chris. Love you too. You,
So while you're having turkey,
yeah.
I'm gonna smoke a brisket.
Brisket
And a
contains a
pork
lot
butt.
too much fat. Pork roast might have pork hips. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that hips? Pork
I'm
butt.
gonna
Hams?
smoke me a pork butt, and I'm gonna smoke me a beef brisket, and that's what I'm gonna be doing for Thanksgiving, kids.
Where are you going to find rolling papers that'll stand up to the grease?
I have a specially made for me out of birch bark.
With hemp, no less, to take in with cannabis in there to season it up, right?
I cannot confirm or deny.
You gonna do the slow smoke on your brisket, or are you gonna do a quickie?
Gotta do it slow, baby.
Okay,
Are we still talking about food?
Yeah.
Yes.
you bet. Look at the size of us, Sharinda. We're food professionals.
that.
Hey,
That
I'm not
that
exactly
brisket
skinny.
is that brisket is low and slow.
You starting it the night before?
Yep.
Good boy.
I have one to throw out there for you. Bradley Reese, 3 years. Man, have I been listening? I have been listening for a long time. No, Brad, we've been doing this for 5 years, Mike.
No, 7.
7
Eight.
years.
8
7 years. Holy crap.
8 in March.
Dragged your ass on here in May back then, Jason.
Sheesh.
So where you been, Bradley Reese? Anyway, just wanted to take and fry him a little bit, since we're talking about frying turkey.
Oh.
Oh, that was a lame.
Okay, now apparently this is the turkey show because now GGW is asking what kind of smoker Mike has.
Zigzag rollers.
See, the problem I have is I don't have the time in my life to commit to being able to, or to continue to add fuel to keep a constant temperature. So I actually, out in the shed, I've got one of those big Brinkmans that's got the side burner, and then it's got it looks like a big, like, stretched out 55-gallon barrel, and then it's got the little hot box on the side for smoking.
Okay. Offset.
Yeah, but I don't have time in my life at the current moment to be able to continually pay attention to temperature and add wood as needed.
Mm-hmm. We're using an electric one.
So that's what I have. Is a couple of years ago, I had a $100 gift card to use at Cabela's, and I happened to walk in there and just happened to catch it at the right time, and so I got a really nice electric smoker for about $190.
Now, Mike, when it comes to smoking meat,
Yes.
nothing is more important. So if you have to be awake all night, or you have to miss taking your wife grocery shopping or paying the rent or
I know.
anything,
I tried that and it didn't work.
priorities, dude. Gotta have them.
Yeah, see, the problem is there's this job thing that gets in the way too, and if I don't go to the job, then I don't have the money to buy the meat to smoke. So, yeah.
So don't show up, and then when you do, take some meat to work with you and give it to your bosses and butter them up. Maybe that would help. No.
Tried it. So, yes, I know it's an electric smoker, and a lot of people don't consider it's a real smoker. That's fine. I accepted that when I got it. So, but
Purists or purists?
So let's see here. Idaho Rogers said, if anybody's interested, the Lock and Load auto charge digital dispenser is on sale for $165. Killer deal, regular $300. If that is the original one, it is shit. Do not buy it.
That's at Midway. MidwayUSA.com.
So I am going to go look at Midway USA and see.
Did they come out with a new version, Mike?
I think they were working on it, but I hadn't seen it yet.
Probably. That's why the auto charge would be on sale. That's a good reason for the auto charge to be on sale if they came up with a new one.
That is the original piece of crap. Do not buy it at all, ever. Save your money. Don't buy it. It's not worth the $165. If it was $100, maybe. And I mean maybe. But even at $165, it is a giant piece of crap. Do not buy it. Mine worked for all of probably 150 loads and then stopped throwing a charge. And that was after I did a whole bunch of tweaking to get it to actually be able to be consistent on the throwing of the charge. So Idaho Rogers, yeah, it's a great price, but it's a piece of crap. So no.
I like Daniel Anderson's comment.
Lost another sponsor. Nebraska's home office mad. No. I told him at SHOT Show that it was a piece of crap.
In person.
Yep. So anyway.
Where is Travis?
Travis, unfortunately, is not able to join us this evening.
Is he still cleaning his room?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he made Mommy mad, and Mommy told him she had to go clean his room again. So,
Wow. Don't piss your mom off, Trav.
no, he might learn someday.
Maybe. Kind of slow.
GJW Reloading has a very good question. He wants to know how to distinguish between the old and new.
Well, the old ones are wrinkled like you, Gigi.
Oh.
The young ones, not so much. See how tight my skin is? I'm young. One of these days, he's going to kick my ass. Just like Jim. If I ever meet Jim, he might kick my ass too.
Nah.
No. We both
Can't
thought
lift this
that.
foot that high.
You want to bet? But I'll tell you what, it's more likely Jason and I will wind up buying each other a bunch of beer.
Have any of you guys been keeping an eye out for any deals on the reload and stuff? I have, and I knew it wasn't going to be great this year, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. The deals are like almost non-existent.
The shortages that are coming are going to make the shortage of 2012 look like a cakewalk. If you're not stocked up, too late, too bad.
Look, it's so bad that I let my mom borrow my 22 when COVID first happened. I asked for that back, and she laughed at me and said, "Do you know how hard it is to get a pistol that you want? And if you do get one, it's about to be hard getting 22. As a matter of fact, can I have another 1,000?"
Nah, good luck finding that.
Well, she knows I got a stash.
So the new one is called the Auto Charge Pro, and it's got a big digital screen up on top, and the powder hopper is not visible. It's behind it. So that's how the difference. So versus the old one, which kind of looks like a red version of the RCBS, only not as good a quality.
So does it work? Do we know?
The new one?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Pretty sure they're not going to send me one to try it out either.
Ever.
I don't know why not. So at some point in time, I'm going to take the thing apart and.
Mr. Horner, they spell that name ISELIN.
Oh man. Hey, Mike, don't feel bad because I'm on that podcast interview I did explaining how much I totally do not like Reloading with Rosie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's hot. She's hot.
How many? I don't care how hot of a chick is. How many women you know reloaded construction boots, tidy whities, or Daisy Dukes?
In my mind,
And a tank
all
top.
of them.
Not in your crazy ass mind.
Oh.
Reality.
I seriously, honestly do have a problem with it too, because not only is it bad for trying to get women into the sport, it's just bad period, because it's not something that you can take to a new reloader and go watch this, because if it's a guy, they're going to spend too much time looking at her cleavage than actually paying attention to what they're trying to teach.
Yep. And what really caught me off guard was that as much as, people are always talking about safety, and I see all these
Oh yeah, they
extra
don't
comments,
no.
nobody has on glasses.
Nope.
While they're doing this.
No,
Yeah.
nobody.
Safety glasses are unattractive on a woman.
Exactly. So that's why she doesn't need to wear them.
Man, forget that. Even though I'm chubby and a little teapot, I think I'm sexy in my glasses.
You are.
Well,
More loads and shoots.
More you reload, the sexier you get. C. McKinley has a comment, Mike. He says, Mike and Jim, I thought you guys were balance beam scale guys. Mike's not adverse to using a digital charging machine, and I've used one, but I can actually load 50 rounds faster by hand with my RCBS.
He's got to remember what he's trying to do. So it takes him a few minutes.
Powder measure. Oh God, what do they call that powder measure? The old-fashioned powder measure, Jason. Uniflow. I can load 50 rounds faster with the Uniflow than you can drop 50 charges with the any of the electronic scales, and I can weigh 5 rounds, or I can weigh 10 rounds if I want to. They'll all be on the money.
I weigh 5 rounds.
Thank you, James. What's that, Mike? About 5 rounds?
Said I weigh 5 rounds.
Yeah.
5 rounds of what? I'm not sure, but.
Yeah.
So I just realized something in this whole setup.
Uh-oh.
It's really cool that I've got these top two drawers here. However, I can't get stuff out of them. So, hey, Sharenda.
Yes.
Time for the horror part of the show. Bam!
What are we looking at?
Run
Wait, do I need to
scared.
get some dollars?
Handheld
scared.
farming tool by Hornaday.
Does that scare you?
Oh.
That's the one she hated and had problems with, so she sent it to me.
Yeah. I hated that thing.
Oh, hey, James. You should get some of these. Let me.
Hold him up. Oh, you talking
James.
about? Oh, James Leonard.
Yeah, James Leonard, you should get some of these.
Now, I'm not saying that was a horrible hand primer, but it was
focused.
not made for my paws.
There you go, James. You should get some of
35
those.
caliber, 358
358
diameter,
diameter.
200 grain round nose.
Be nice if the camera would frickin' focus.
That's for you, James Leonard. Yeah,
There
you had it. Yeah, you had it for a split second.
So
That's for you, Mr. Leonard. Yep.
So we were talking earlier in the reloading room admin chat. He had found a new toy in 35 rem, and he was looking for asking. So I wanted to make sure I showed those to him since I had them sitting right here. I can impersonate Rosie the Reloader. Here, hang on a second.
Oh Lord! If you please don't
Here we
take off
go.
your pants and pull up your
Here we
shorts.
go. I can be Rosie the Reloader. I'm Rosie the Reloader. Woo!
No, you got do the accent.
Oh God, I haven't watched that in like 4 years. I'm not gonna try to do the accent.
Do the act. Now, I just want to tell the side panel that I'm not one of those people that are like, oh my gosh, why do we have to subject women into being gun bunnies? I honestly don't care. Whatever floats your boat. But I really did think that was a little tasteless
Yeah,
for a
I
company
would agree.
that big.
Yeah, I would agree.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, what? Can't really hear it.
Reloading with Rosie.
Oh. Oh, good grief.
She's British.
Oh, that's even worse.
All right, done.
So Hunt Shoot Off Rose said that these guys were against that prior to you appearing in the show.
This is true. We did rip it when it first came out.
What's that?
Rosie.
Rosie.
Oh, yeah, we did. She has no credibility when it comes to the reloading community.
Hey, so Daniel Anderson says, are there air pistols that shoot 22 bullets? Yes and no.
Does he mean 22 pellets?
That's why I'm saying yes and no. There are air pistols that shoot 22 caliber pellets. I've got one that's about 10 yards that way. But they don't really, you can't like pop a long rifle 40 grainer off and then stuff it in the pellet gun and shoot it. It's oversized. So, Idaho Rogers says Lyman Gen 6 is on sale for $188. Now that's absolutely worth it. Have you tried out your Lyman Gen 6 or Sharenda?
Not yet.
Why not?
Because it's hunting season.
You can't hunt and reload at the same time?
No.
Okay.
I can't hunt, work 2 jobs, and reload at the same time. So
Oh,
I got a little break in between hunting season.
stop it.
I'm a man, damn it.
What?
What? Prove
My
it.
family said I act like a old man now with the hunting season and
Oh my goodness.
Thank God you're not proving it.
hens den, right.
So Daniel Anderson, there are things called slugs. They're heavier than a pellet. That could be what he was talking about. But as far as a pistol goes, I don't know that they could launch a slug fast enough to be accurate. But I don't know a bunch about it. Just trying to answer your question.
Yeah.
Pinky. Try to take over the world. Pinky and the Brain. It's Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane.
See what happens when you ask Sharenda?
hmm I think when people ask you questions like that, it should probably, let's have this conversation offline. And then the Pinky and the Brain theme comes up.
I actually watched the first one of the new series, and they're actually pretty good.
They have a new series?
Yeah, they just started. Spielberg did it. So I watched the first episode. It was pretty good.
I'm going to have to look that up.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, I don't have Hulu.
No, that's terrible.
Damn.
So anyway. Yeah, Hunt Shoot Off Road said Rosie, Blue Press. Yeah, they're kind of same thing with the Blue Press. So, but Paul Nelson said they're custom-made air rifles in Germany that use cast 22 bullets. Okay,
We weren't talking about rifles. We were talking about pistols.
so, but they're also a different diameter than your standard 22 long rifle. So that's the thing. Because you can't take a standard 22 long rifle, pop the bullet off, and try and use it in a pellet gun. I'm not going to say how I know this, but I'm just going to say that it doesn't work. Okay.
Thinking in the brain thing, song again.
Okay. Okay. All.
Did-
So.
Did you pop the seals in the pistol?
Nope.
Bet you had a hell of a time clearing
Nope.
the barrel. Sounds good.
Wasn't bad actually. So. I'm looking for something here.
Michael Armstrong, Jason, pour me a gin and juice. This podcast is all over the place. I need a drink. That's why it's all over the place, is because alcohol.
Because most of us aren't drinking alcohol.
I probably need one.
All right. Anyway, you know what that means?
Cartridge corner.
Yes, cartridge corner. All right. So today it's episode 327. And some slacker from Minnesota, or as we like to call it affectionately in Wisconsin, Minnescrotum.
Poor Travis.
Wanted,
Travis is from Idaho.
yeah.
So we talking about Mike himself,
Idaho.
huh?
And we're talking about
Oh,
Mark.
Oh, hook him.
Yes.
Mr. Johnny Walker Black himself.
So, anyway, so for episode 327, he asked for us to do the 327 Federal Magnum. So, obviously, as you can tell, Federal Magnum means it was made by the Federal Cartridge Company. So the 327 Federal Magnum was an attempt to prove on the 32 H&R Magnum introduced in 1984. Like the 32 H&R, the 327 is a lengthened version of the original 32 S&W, which dates all the way back to 1878. In 1896, the 32 S&W Long was introduced, which generated slightly higher velocities. So the introduction of the 32 H&R in 84 increased pressures from 15,000 to 21,000 cup, giving velocities of approximately 1,200 feet per second. So, it's kind of one of those that we love to do. Let's try and figure out a way to make it faster. So it's based on the 32 H&R Magnum. It's got an 1/8 of an inch longer case, strengthened webbed at the base of the case, thicker case walls, and different heat treating and metallurgy. So this baby is set up to handle 45,000 PSI, which is quite a bit higher than the 21,000 cup that the 32 H&R would do. Actual bullet diameter is 0.312. Muzzle velocity up to 1,400 feet per second with 100 grain, and 1,300 feet per second with 115 grain. So, when fired from a 3 1/16 inch SP-101 Ruger. So, the felt recoil exceeds the 32 H&R. It's definitely easier to control than equivalent models chambered in 357 Magnum. So Chuck Hawks did a comparison. For those of you who don't know, Chuck Hawks spends a lot of time doing a lot of firearms related stuff, whether it's cartridge comparisons or firearms comparisons. It's actually a really good place to go and get some information. They're very thorough in what they do. Usually isn't any bad information there.
Excuse me.
I think Sharona, you going to make it?
Yeah, went down the wrong. Nothing.
Just mute yourself, dear.
Alrighty. So it's comparing the two calibers. Chuck Hawks said there's no doubt that for most shooters, 357 Magnum produces uncomfortable recoil and muzzle blast. Talking about in that 3 1/16 inch barrel out of the SP-101, because the SP-101 comes in 327 and 357. So the 327's recoil energy is 3.08 foot-pounds. Or 4.18 joules for an 85 grain jacketed hollow point. For comparison, the figures are 1.98 joules for an 85 grain in a 32 H&R, and then 9.79 joules for 125 grain in 357. So even at the max, load, the 327, which is 115 grain, it's only 7.62 joules. So the 125 is kind of the light end of the 357 loads, and that's at a whopping 9.79 joules. So, or 7.22 foot-pounds of force, if you're into the old school standard stuff. So, initial offerings were by Charter Arms, Taurus, Ruger, and Freedom Arms. The SP-101 was selected as development platform for the cartridge. Freedom made a single action, as just Firearms did with its 8-shot Sparrowhawk. So original for Ruger was the 6-shot SP-101, the 7-shot GP-100, and single action 8-shot Blackhawk. So, then they kind of talk about the other firearms that have been released. You can get the LCR and the LCRX in 327. Now, the difference between the LCR and the LCRX, for those of you who are wondering, LCRX has an exposed hammer where the LCR does not. Henry is releasing actually, I think it's out there somewhere, but not currently. They are going to be making a lever action in 327. So that'd be kind of fun. That way you can have a pistol and a rifle. Similar velocity to the old 3220 Winchester. For rifle loadings. But it's actually, 327 Federal Magnum provides similar to the high velocity rifle loadings of the old 3220 Winchester in performance, but the velocities are achieved in a much shorter revolver barrel thanks to much higher pressure sealing for the 327. Another similar is the 30 carbine, which has also been offered as in the Blackhawk since 1968. But it has a higher pressure ceiling, 45,000 PSI versus the 30 carbines, 40,000 PSI. There's also different stuff. You can looking at, there's some custom gunsmiths that were doing some conversion of 32 H&Rs to 327s, so on and so forth. Wouldn't think about getting a 32 Smith, whether it's a short or long converted, because they probably aren't going to handle it. So, but that's kind of it's a nice little cartridge. It gives, there's a lot of people that poo-poo it because it's not a 357 Magnum, but it's a nice mid-range cartridge. It's an awesome cartridge for that Ruger LCR. If you want to carry a small revolver and you want to get that Ruger LCR, get it in 327 because you can actually stand to shoot it. Unlike if you get it the other way it comes is 38 plus P, or they do make a 357 option too. But from what I've been told, it's brutal to shoot that 357 because it's a polymer gun.
Oh my God, that's even worse. I've shot metal 2-inch 357s, and I'll tell you what, it's like I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Metal with a wooden stock. So on my revolver, my Dan Wesson, I put rubber on it. Well, Pacmar grips.
Yeah. So, it's a fun little cartridge. It's got a lot of good purpose. So, it's not like it was a cartridge that was a solution in search of a problem. There was an existing cartridge they tried to make more powerful. So, unlike some of the newer cartridges that you're just like, wait, what? Why? So, especially the plethora of long-range rifle cartridges that are coming out now. I mean, you got the 6 ARC, you've got the 6.5 PRC, the 300 PRC, you know, the 6 Creed, the 6.5 Creed for that matter. And there's all these different, and there's more coming out. So it's just like, seriously.
Don't forget the 260 Remington. And
No,
264 Winchester Magnum. Yes, those are older cartridges.
but they haven't just come out. That's the point.
Yeah, you're
All
right.
of the rest of them I mentioned are recent, you know, within the last 10 years. So it just doesn't make sense. So it's kind of one of those things that everybody wants to take that Wildcat cartridge and make the next super cartridge, and they're all just kind of the same. That's the reason they're all Wildcats, is because none of them were really that much better than everything else.
Mike, let me interrupt you for a second. Chris
Yeah.
Sharp, friend of the show. I wish him a good night and good luck with the surgery.
Yep, absolutely, Chris.
Please continue, Mike. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, not interrupting at all. That's fine. So, yeah, the 357 has been around for an eon, and it's kind of the gold standard for concealed carry revolvers, because you don't really want to try and carry a 44 or a 460 or a 500, unless, of course, you're protecting yourselves from bears. Then yeah, 500 would be really good. So
Then you wouldn't carry it concealed either. You carry it.
yeah, you can.
You can, I said, but I was like, it's faster to carry it openly.
But if you've got it on a chest rig and you've got a coat over it, then it's kind of concealed. So,
True.
But anyway, so I digress.
Yeah,
So
back
yeah,
to
it's a fun
327.
little one to take a look at. It's a great one for those who want to conceal carry revolvers but don't want to break their wrist with a 357. So give it a shot. You might like it. Anyway. So what else are we going to talk about tonight, gang? Now that we've got the cartridge corner done.
That was for you, Hookem.
Yep. So credit to Wikipedia for most of that.
Yeah, whoever wrote that. Shrenda, you got all those presses set up yet? You're muted. You're muted, Shrenda.
I was trying to find the button, Jim.
Mm.
No, I'll have the last 2 set up by the first of the year. Apparently I've hunted so much we had to get an extra freezer.
That's a real problem to have.
So yeah, and I gotta shift stuff around in the garage. So I gotta take the big table down, get one more smaller one, and then move both the freezers over. But I'm not gonna tackle that till first of the year because I got too many hunts coming up. And I bought another one.
Another what?
Press.
What'd you buy?
I got the Lee. Wait a minute before I lie, because there's one and I'm stalking. I can't remember which came first.
The Lee Classic Turret came first.
No, I want one of those hand-loaded ones just for grins and
breech loader.
giggles. Okay, yeah. So I bought the breech. I had to pick up the box because I'm gonna use that for sizing.
Sizing what?
Sizing my cast bullets when I powder
Oh,
coat 'em.
okay. I was going to say, I hope you're not going to start trying to resize rifle cartridges, because if you do, you're going to be exercising those pectoral muscles.
Hey, I shoot clays all day. I
Okay.
can do it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I'm gonna set this up to dedicate it to size. I'm supposed to be learning. Going over to Ozark Spirit and Twisted Twine Wood next month for a live casting demo. So we're coordinating that because they're in Joplin, which is about 2 hours for me.
You mind if I change the subject, Sharenda?
No.
K24 has a question. He's at the Reloaders podcast, or he's asking us a question on casting for 270 Winchester. Any advice? Yes, I have some advice. Lyman makes M dies. Buy one for your 270. It's a nice gradual taper. You'll never get your bullets in your cartridge if you don't put an M die in that brass first. Second piece of advice I have for you is the Lee push-through sizing system. Just lubricate your bullets first, push them through, put a gas check on if it calls for it, and then lubricate them again. You put 2 coats on. Make both coats light. And I'm on record as saying that I thin my liquid Alox with Hoppy's number 9. Make it thin, almost watery, and then put it in a clean, empty Cool Whip bowl and put a few drops of that on there and size your bullets or swirl your bullets around. Then resize them, gas check if needed, and then re-lubricate them for you. How's that, K24? If you have any questions, you can address that to me, Jim Fleming, on Facebook, or on MeWe, Jim Fleming. And if you need to, my email address isn't that hard to find. Or you can send the email to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Hope that helps. Well, the idea, Idaho, behind using cast bullets in a 270 is to load it down somewhat, because you'd be surprised how much fun you can have hunting small game with a bolt gun. Like a groundhog or a raccoon or rabbit, hit him with a cast bullet, he's dead. The idea is to intentionally load down. The other thing is, too, cast bullets are known for not being nearly as rough on the bore of the rifle barrel as jacketed bullets are. Jacketed loads are.
What did I miss?
We were just finishing up because Sharenda was telling me about she bought that breech loader, and then I just answered a question about K24 about using cast bullets in 270 Winchester. I gave him some good advice, or what I think is good advice. I have M dies for the 270 caliber, and I have the Lee sizing system. Cool Whip Bowl, Jorgen Rangan. He's giving me hell. He says, Cool Whip Bowl. God darn it, Jim, that's my good Tupperware. Well, number one, as I understand you, Jorgen, you're from Canuckland. Y'all don't speak the kind of trash we talk down here in the South.
What land?
Canuckland.
Oh, okay.
Canada land. You know, that place where them Canadian fellers all hang out?
Look, only thing I know about Canada is that they got some good geese.
Well, they got snow, big country. Anyway.
So, anyway, I don't really know if I've got anything to kind of throw together right now for a couple minute conversation. So, but Jorgen's got a good thought. So he says, part of the chat, he says, Idaho Rogers USMC, why wouldn't you want to shoot your primary hunting rifle more often for practice using cheap cast rounds? If you use it all year plinking, I bet it'd help with hunting season.
That's a follow-on to the K24 question.
Yeah.
About cast bullets in a 270. And I'd suggested using cast loads for hunting small game.
Okay.
That's still a good question from Jorgen Rangan.
So C. McKinley said, Mike, crimping versus not crimping.
Boy, talk about starting a caliber war. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Jason, let Jason weigh in on that. He hasn't said much for a while. He's got a mouthful of peanuts. He hardly ever says anything. And usually it's one or two words. Jason, what do you think about crimping versus not crimping?
Not crimping.
For everything?
No.
Okay.
Neck tension is number one for a lot of stuff, but if you have, say, your lever guns or your big revolvers, I guess any of your Magnum revolvers, you're going to want to crimp. But
What about
ARs and whatnot? Neck tension does the job.
Jason? What about shooting a 270 in an 06? What's the? No, I'm not. I'm actually not frying your cookies on that. But what about crimping? Would that help? Okay, let's just say you're shooting a 270. Would you crimp that round?
Jacketed? No.
Okay, but if it were crimped, would you crimp that? I'm sorry, if it were cast, would you crimp that?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to, because once you expand your mouth with that M die, you got to button everything back up.
Yep.
So
Now, would you use vertical pressure on that, or would you use a Lee factory crimp die on that, Jason?
I'm kind of partial to that Lee factory crimp die.
K24, I hope you're taking notes. I just now thought of that situation. That's one thing I don't have for my 270 cast system is the Lee factory crimp die.
So yeah, some of it depends. Like with GGW reloading said, what cartridge, and that does make a difference. Most of my handgun cartridges I crimp, but there's a caveat. Because I'm not loading FMJs, I need to bell the mouth of the cartridge a little bit so that the bullet will slide in without shaving it. So then I need to then close that back up. And my handguns, I don't use a factory crimp die. I just use a standard taper die. So, but I only put it back to the way it was. I don't actually crimp. So I guess technically it's not crimping, I guess you could say. Rifle, when I first started loading, I did. And then as soon as I figured out what I was really doing, I don't. Because if you're getting your neck tension consistent, then you're accomplishing the same goal as what the point of crimping is, which is the whole entire idea behind crimping in a lot of cases is to give a consistent starting point for when the pressure actually moves the bullet. So you're eliminating a variable. Now, if your neck tension is consistent, case to case to case, then you're accomplishing the same thing without putting any undue pressure on the bullet. And for the most part, it probably honestly doesn't really make much of a difference to the bullet, crimping or not crimping. As long as you're not like squishing the heck out of it. So now there are exceptions, like Jason said. Any of your tubular magazines, so your lever action guns or your slide actions, that type of thing, your semi-autos like that, you're probably going to want to look at crimping because they're sitting in there and they're moving around. And they're touching end to end, not firing pin to bullet tip, but they're still touching end to end. So as you move around, they bump. And if you don't have a guarantee to make sure that that doesn't move, then it will, even if you've got consistent neck tension. So I haven't started loading for 357 yet. But that'll get crimped, actually crimped because as Jason was commenting for Magnum loads, when you crank off that first one, it shakes everything else in the gun. And if they're not set firm, then you can get them moving out or moving in. So, so Idaho Rogers USMC said, my hunting loads I crimp. I travel a lot on horseback over rough country. After 40 miles of backpacking to the backcountry, you'd be amazed the beating the rounds go through. Absolutely makes sense. Same. Paul Nelson said, dangerous game loads crimp. Magnum handgun loads crimp. So you don't want to change things. You want to make sure it's consistent. And you want to make sure they don't come apart. Absolutely. You know, you can have your neck tension perfect. But if you're just beating the crap out of those things and they're bouncing all over the place, it's entirely possible that they're going to move. Dangerous game loads are usually a very heavy hitting caliber. So you're going to have that same kind of similar recoil as you would in the Magnums pistols. So that's the thing for that. So, K24 says your roll crimps 9 for Smith & Wesson 929 revolver. No problem using M-die cast bullet and no bullet walk. So theoretically 9 shouldn't really have enough, even in a revolver. I wouldn't think that it would have enough recoil to actually move it, because it'd be the same as whether it's sitting in the cylinders or in the magazine. So, Jim, there's a question in the chat. They want to know, how do you get consistent neck tension in your brass? Can you answer that for us, Jim?
I'm posing the question, and I am serious. I want some opinions about how do we make sure that our brass gives us consistent neck tension.
Well,
I know one way, but I'm curious. I'm open to ideas for other suggestions.
So a couple of the suggestions, Quality Brass, that was from Jorgen, and then Jason and Jorgen both said annealing. Basically it boils down to consistency in sizing and consistency in your cases. So Hunt Shoot Off Road just said one of the other things, measuring neck wall thickness.
Yep.
If you are using, say you're using a standard full case or full length sizing die, and you have one case that has a neck thickness of 0.012, and I'm just making these numbers up. I don't think it doesn't necessarily correlate to anything. But then your next case has a neck tension or has a neck thickness of 0.015. Well, now you got 3 thousandths difference between those two.
That's on a side too. That's on one side of the cartridge neck. That's not that doubles up when you go both sides of the cartridge neck.
We'll say consistent.
Okay.
Consistent all the way around. So now you're adding, like Jim was saying, so now you're adding 6 thousandths. And so now your standard full-length sizing die and your expander ball are dealing with a thicker neck, and you're not going to get the same tension out of that one that you did out of that one that's 0.12. So then what you're going to be looking at doing is you're going to be looking at a lot of serious extra work. You're going to be looking at either turning that neck, or you're looking at doing like a collet style neck sizing. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. So,
Mike, check the private chat, please.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different steps that go into it. So
That's the one. That's the one right there.
That kind of Paul Nelson kind of
Sums it up.
to a lot of it. Says 1 lot of brass And so what that means is that all brass, just like powder, you have lots, bullets, you have lots, completed cartridges, you have lots. With your brass, you can have lots too. So you want to get the brass all from the same, because then theoretically, and it's not necessarily guaranteed to be true, theoretically, all that brass is consistent because it was all made the same day and it was all theoretically from the same alloy, and theoretically the press was operating at the same pressures that whole day. So there's a lot of stuff to go into it. So, and then annealing, tuned neck expanding.
No, he turned neck expanding.
Quality brass, turned brass. So,
You read it right.
So, there's a lot of steps that go into this, and we'll get more into this when we get to the rifle end of it for the loading. So, GGW Reloading said neck wall thickness should affect bullet concentricity to the bore.
Absolutely, it does.
Yep. So, neck wall thickness makes more than just it affects more than just your neck tension. That's why neck turning has been so huge for so many years. So, and there's some people that don't necessarily think you need a neck turn, but there's some people that do. So, it's like crimping and not crimping. You're going to get those different arguments that are going to go along, and depending on who you talk to, you're going to get a different answer every time.
For those guys that are interested only in minute of pie plate at 100 yards, they're not interested in neck turning.
So
they don't care.
Nope. So Rusty Guy said, because one of the ways, how do you check your neck tension? Well, the basic neck tension check to make sure the bullet doesn't move is push your loaded rounds against the front of your bench to see if you can move the bullet in the case. That's your most basic. Now, the catch with that,
right, is you got to use common sense, and you can't shove your whole body weight against it because it will move.
Yep. And the other thing is you have to make sure you can do that so you're not going to compromise the tip of the bullet.
Yep.
So, and Paul Nelson went on to explain what tuned neck expansion is, and it's using a separate expander mandrel. So you're not just using that ball that you pull back through. So it's actually a mandrel that will go inside, and you size the neck from the inside and the outside at the same time. So Wild Turkey said neck turning is for bolt guns, not gas. Not necessarily true. Most of your gas guns, you're probably not going to get the performance out of to notice the difference. So why bother?
You have national mass chambers. It will make a difference.
Right. That's why I said most. So, yeah, that's kind of one of those things there. But how many people are running around with national match chamber M1As?
People that have the money and want the accuracy. They're willing to do it.
Yep. So, but there's a lot of different little things that go into all of this. And you can really, really, really get down, as old 1874 iron said, babbitt holes.
Oh, so,
yeah. You can spend hours just getting your brass ready to load. So, Jorgen said he'd love to see a Paul Nelson brass prep and loading session. Well, I have to work on that.
Didn't we do that one time? We had a show with Paul, huh? A couple of them.
Yeah, but it was just a talking show. He didn't actually go through and show. So that's what they're saying. So maybe when Paul gets all settled, I can make a trip to Indiana and we can shoot some video. Give me an excuse to get out of the house. But it's one of those things that you can just grab your 3-die set for your rifle, and you can do your basic sizing, and you can go from there, and then you can crimp the bullets and just to keep them in to get that consistency, and then you can go all the way down to all sorts of different things. There's just a litany of different options for the reloaders, depending on how far you want to get serious. So, I mean, we could sit here and talk about brass prep for 5 or 6 shows in a row.
Yep.
So, and we may when we get to rifle.
Well, I wanted to bring a pure reloading brass prep question to the panel tonight, and I sure as heck got a good answer.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the consistent across the board solution is annealing.
Well, what I was going to start out with was the comment was about buying a new lot of brass. Start with that, and then of course annealing after that. Then of course then you get into neck turning, and of course then you got the tune neck expansion.
Yep. So what's the point of annealing? Anybody want to answer that one? Why anneal?
Sure, because when you work hard when you resize your brass, you actually are working your brass 2 times each time you resize. One time you're shrinking it back down in the neck of the reloading die when you're necking it back down from your chamber and your fired sizes down to smaller sizes. Then you resize that brass. You pull that ball out of there. You're working the brass from the inside. So you're actually working your brass twice. If you work brass often enough, it'll work harden. And when it work hardens, it becomes brittle. And when it becomes brittle, it gives you longitudinal case splits, neck splits, or it can actually come clear off the shoulder, or the intersection of the neck and head, or neck and shoulder, or intersection of the neck and body, shoulder and body. That's why you anneal brass, is to keep the brass, to soften the brass back up. And no, you don't have to quench brass to keep it soft. The only reason why we quench it is so it's for our personal safety. So you don't grab a hot case and damn. Just use them blue words at the.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of different things. So, excuse me. So, Jorgen, we're going to save that question. Jorgen wants to know, can anyone actually speak to the issue of inconsistent annealing? I've heard many methods of annealing disparaged because of potential inconsistency, but no one ever has quantified the issue. So we'll hold on to that one for now, and we'll get back into that one later.
Mike, I'm going to put that in the even show notes, okay?
Sounds good.
Jorgen, thank you very much, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The question comes all the way from Alberta, one of the provinces of Canada.
Mm-hmm. The one that just needs to take over the rest of Canada.
Yeah, the Texas of Canada, as it were.
So, quick answer for you, GDW. I have new Starline brass, so after resizing, should I anneal? Yes. There's no harm in annealing, as long as you're doing it right.
Annealing is actually good for the brass, for the results from brass.
Now, Wild Turkey did give different. He says GGW no. After a couple firings, yes. So it's kind of a personal preference thing on that. So I mean, if you're going to anneal, you might as well just start out with it, is my personal opinion. Why give it a chance to start to work hard in the first place? Because the other thing, when you work hard in any sort of metal, it becomes brittle, but also it becomes more inflexible. So the entire idea behind resizing brass is to get it to go back to a size that we desire for our use. And as it gets harder, it's going to be that much harder to resize that to the size we design or desire. And by annealing every time, you're going to make sure that that doesn't become an issue.
Paul Nelson has a good good point, and that he put the comment in the chat. You would have a hard time over annealing brass unless you were destroying the brass. Well, I will tell you this. I didn't realize it, but when I annealed my brass for the very first time in my 270, that was years ago, I over annealed the brass. I ruined the brass. I heated up the entire cartridge, including the head.
Whoops.
It only took one round, and gas in this eye. I'll never do that again. I over annealed it. Yes, what happened was my primer, I put a regular standard load in those cartridges, and I wound up getting gas in the eye. Pretty bad gas, too.
No bueno.
Well, I wear glasses, so it
Right.
deflected, but still, like you said, no good. Anyway, the thing is, I destroyed that box of brass simply by ruining the primer pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was unintentional, of course, but I did it, and I'm going to be transparent about it.
Yep. So C. McKinley just said, let me throw something else in. What if you just neck size? Is annealing still as important? Oh, yes.
Absolutely, because you're still working the neck of the brass. That's where you get case splits, neck splits.
Yep.
And annealing can help slow that down. Able if you anneal it correctly and you anneal it every time, you may be able to be able to keep that brass going for a long time. You might get 15, 20, 30, 50 loads out of a particular round. But that would be for a bolt gun. I wouldn't try that with a gas gun or a semi-automatic. But who knows? I've never tried it. When I do any sort of precise shooting or hand loading, it's always for rifle. Speaking of which, you should see some of the atrocious standard deviations I got in my shooting tests, some of my ammo, Mike.
Yep.
Particularly out of that 4-inch barrel.
Yeah. So, K24 said, Jim, always good to admit failure to help the next guy. Absolutely. I mean, we all freely admit when we screw up on this show.
No, I'll be honest there too. I don't tell every mistake I make.
No.
If I catch it, I pull it apart. It ain't a mistake.
But we do. I mean, we come clean
we do,
and to help other people learn. So,
Shrenda, you all right, dear? You got a funny look on your face. Oh, okay. Never mind.
she's busy looking at other things.
Yeah, no, I had to unhook mute. When I have to show y'all this meme that was sent to me that was supposed to be me later.
Oh, good grief.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. All right, gang. So, want to say thanks to everybody that tunes in every week.
Don't forget to throw a like on our show, Mike. Or guys, please. 15 likes, and I don't know how many chat people we have, chat viewers we have.
So, yeah, just thankful for everybody that tunes into the live shows every week at 7 p.m. Central. Jim McKinley wants to know if you've tracked how many times you've shot brass. So
I can't tell you that because I don't know.
Yep, I don't honestly keep track either. So.
I didn't start annealing till the last year, and usually if I get a case of the neck split, I just throw the damn thing away because it's worthless.
Yep. So, Mosen Troll McMahon wants to know, does anybody know of a good 22 long rifle bullet trap for indoors? I don't. I know there's a few out there that are made, but I don't know.
I know one. I know a very good one.
I think he's looking commercial, not making your bucket of sand.
It's cheap too.
Yeah.
Mosen Troll McMahon, like the man said, a 5-gallon bucket of sand. You put your target on the top of with a lid. You put your step of your target to the lid. You fill that bucket with sand, and you'll never put a 22 round deeper than 6 inches in that thing.
Unless it's out the side.
Correct.
So, but yeah, so that's a good one for inside. So, no, you're not braising those splits, turkey. Just throw it away. Anyway,
Jeez, who said that?
wild turkey.
Oh, well, he spelled it correctly.
Yeah, he did. So,
Braise, not as in B-R-A-Z-E, B-R-A-I-Z.
yeah,
Wild turkey. I think you've been using a little bit of that wild turkey on yourself, you rascal.
right.
Must be drunk.
And then Mosin-Troll, you can take a piece of rubber to put in between the lid and the sand to kind of keep the sand from pouring out after you've punched a few rounds
That's
through it.
exactly what I did.
So then you just change the rubber out. So
Mhm.
you can get rubber at most of your hardware
And
stores.
you can recycle your lead too, Mike.
That's right.
Matter of fact, the U.S. Army did a test statistically proving that a 50 caliber machine gun round shot into sand cannot penetrate deeper than 18 inches.
There you go.
That's exactly how deep a 5-gallon bucket is, 18 inches.
So, Nathan, we're going to table that question too, because we've got a bunch of different stuff out there, and I've got to try some out before we can really say. So,
Yeah.
oh, Mosin-Troll McMahon is Colin. Okay, hi, Colin. He's from crikey. I want to say he's on the Facebook and the MeWe. So, but anyway, all right, gang. On that note, thanks to everybody that joins us for the live chat and says thanks by leaving a like or a thumbs up. Just grateful for everybody that spends time. So, joining us, whether it's here or on the audios. So, just grateful. And just want to take time to thank everybody that swings over to firearmsradio.tv, hits up the Amazon, the Brownells link. It helps out the network, helps out the show. Special shout out to all of our Patreons who help make this thing happen every week. For those of you who are going to be listening to this live or reasonably live, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in America, and happy Thursday to everybody else in the world. Just appreciate it, all the continued interest, continued effort, continued feedback. Great show ideas. And obviously my brain has quit working. So on that point,
Wait a minute, Mike. We couldn't do this nearly as well as we've done it. We wouldn't do it as long as we've done it without all those folks out there helping us out. They are really the reason why we do this. Yes, we love what we're doing. Mike and I tried the podcast by ourselves. You guys look back, you might even find somewhere out there, Reloading Radio. I did a few shows. I'll tell you what, you can't podcast. It's very difficult. Michael Bain does it every week. So does Tom Gresham. Well, he has call-ins and stuff like that. But anyway,
yeah,
the thing is, if it weren't for you folks, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this.
Nope.
Maybe in this collection of misfits wouldn't be together if it weren't for us doing it, Mike. What do you think about that?
Yep. Absolutely. So,
And I'm a misfit myself. I'm the first one.
for those of you who want to be Patreon, you go to firearmsradio.tv /reloading-podcast, and there's a link on there for Patreon. Otherwise, we've had people send us equipment to try out. If you want to do that too, just getting the word out there is the best way to do it. So, being part of the show, being part of that feedback, sending us emails to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com or text or voicemails to 608-467-0308. Patreons are awesome. We greatly appreciate that. Everybody that wants to send their hard-earned money. One last thing. So we have the two brass catchers some Lyman stickers and some Lyman patches to give away. We are going to get together later this week, and we're going to figure out how exactly we're going to do all those. So next week's show, we're going to announce how those giveaways are going to happen. So make sure you turn in. That's December 1st, 7 p.m. Central.
Colin, you're a turd bird.
Man, I want to make that happen so bad.
Don't you dare.
No, I still got to send you crap because it's lost on my bench from when out in the garage from when I started this whole entire Switch thing. I now have a pile of stuff about yay high on my bench, and it's
What,
all
send me?
No, of just stuff on my bench. They got moved out of this room to go out there so we could bring this stuff in, and so I got to get through it. So, but that's what I'm planning on doing for part of tomorrow. So,
If you know what, tell you what, Mike, I'll put this on the air. If you send me some sizes, you can, even if it's a photograph of the template of the print of the press you want, I could probably come up with some steel. Mild steel, not the hardened stuff.
right.
And drill it the way you want, mill it out the way you want, and all that.
Okay.
Okay? We can start over on that because I use that tough coat, and that stuff was crap.
Yeah. Well, it was a nice idea. So, it was definitely a nice idea.
Yeah, well,
And it works great for the Lyman, or not the Lyman, but the Hornaday.
okay, well, whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm on the air on record for saying that.
All right. So, on that note, gang, keep your brass shiny. Keep your powder dry.
It's time for taglines, Sharenda. I go last, always.
Oh, my bad. I'm slipping. And introduce the lady to Reloading. Tell her to come on and check out the podcast. They don't have to comment, but they can see how friendly you guys are. Not
And
just a bunch of big old teddy bears.
Want to bet on that?
You hush. Also, speaking of podcast, if you are a listener and you want to join us and you have something you'd like to specifically talk about, because say you've got a unique thing you've created or something like that, shoot us an email, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it. So just tossing that out there.
Support the Second Amendment. Happy Thanksgiving. And support the Second Amendment. Do what you got to do. Get out there, take somebody shooting, particularly new shooters. It's more important in the next 4 to 6 years. It's more important than ever. We defend our Second Amendment rights.
Amen to that. And on that note, folks,